Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew with me, Graham Hughes. You are watching Politics Social here. And just want to say a big hi to everyone out there. It is Tuesday, the 1st of July. Yeah, we've made it halfway through the year. Congrats on making it this far. It is Monday, Tuesday, the 2nd, the 1st, no, Tuesday, the 1st of July, 2025. Big shout out to everyone in the chat, rather sunburnt and crispy Graham here, saying hello. We've got Sarah Davis in the chat. We've got Anne Phillips. We've got Liz. We've got Saz. We've got Francis. We have got Veg Pie, Joanna, and Chris C. We've got Martin Harrow, Gallifreyan Wren, and many others. Many others. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat here, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button. He says, hitting the subscribe button, which isn't working. Why is nothing working? There you go. There's the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, wait for 1 minute, and we should be good to go. So today we're going to be talking about the crisis in the Labour Party at the moment. A crisis of its own making. This is a bit like when you know someone who has succumbed to alcoholism or gambling addiction. It could happen to anyone. It could happen to any political party, I suppose. It's just a bit shit that it's happening now with the party that are in charge that we thought were going to be a bit different, you know. We thought it would be a bit of a relief from the shit that we had from the Tories for many years. But no. I'm not saying that Labour are just as bad as the Tories. But as was pointed out quite saliently this morning by a friend of mine, Labour under Starmer have a worse record when it comes to LGBTQIA rights than Cameron. Starmer has a worse record than Cameron. I think there's a whole video to be made about that, but that is just absolutely shocking. Well, Labour have 154, I think, seat majority at the moment. Why does it feel like the government is hanging by a thread? This is the most fraught moment so far of Starmer's leadership, not because he's facing down the Tories, who are doing not very well, or because he's facing down Refuck, who aren't doing that well, really. It's just, you know, they've got pockets of support from idiots who look at pictures of Nigel Farage in his exclusive Belgravia club and go, oh, he's a man of the people. Look at the man of the people being all peoply and manny and people and just, you know, helping the people out. I don't know. Sorry, I've got to put some Vaseline on my lips because they're so sunburnt. So just ignore me while I'm making Vaseline opening noises. Good morning, everyone. And how are we all doing today? Says Liebchen. I'm feeling pretty meh as usual. Well, Liebchen, I hope we can, you know, help to feel a little less meh, to know that you're not alone in this. There's a lot of shit going down, but it's nice to be able to talk about it amongst friends, and also it's nice to be able to take the piss out of these stupid bastards who are doing these stupid bastard things. Anyway, can a government call itself progressive while pushing through benefit cuts with the help of, you know, abstentions and creative accounting? So the bill is the Universal Credit and Personal Independence Payment Bill, and it seeks to tighten up eligibility for PIP from November 2026 to remove work capability assessments, which is a good thing. Tighten the eligibility for PIP, not so good. Introduced a minimum threshold of 4 points in at least 1 day of daily living tasks for new claimants, and to shift future claimants onto a system that's already been criticised as being rather arbitrary. The claim savings are going to be £5 billion a year. I don't know by not a year, right? By 2030. So 1 billion a year they're going to save by doing this. It's not worth it. It is absolutely not worth it. I am sick to my back teeth about hearing how we can't afford this, we can't afford that. It's like, you know, when millionaires, you know, when like the upper class whinge about, you know, not having the money for the restoration of the east wing of the mansion. Fuck off. Downgrade. Get yourself a smaller house. We're the 6th biggest economy in the world, mate. The 6th biggest economy in the world. The problem is, it's all run by a bunch of Tory, toff, billionaire, multi-millionaire wankstains who haven't got a fucking clue, and I wouldn't trust to run a fucking bath. But they have so much power to do anything they want, you know? And people keep falling for it. If you want the one secret trick that'll work when you talk to these stupid refuckers, saying, why are you supporting the millionaires? Are you a millionaire? No. Okay, so why are you doing everything in your power to support them? Like, why is it so important to you that millionaires get a posh bank account? Ask them that to their face. See what answer you get. You won't get a serious answer because they know they've got the back against the wall here. They'll say something stupid or they'll insult you. I mean, you know, when I say they'll say something stupid, that won't be anything new. Why is it so important to you that multi-millionaires can get a bank account with Coots? Why is that the most important thing on the agenda? Francis, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. First super chat of the morning. Maybe we'll set a super chat goal this morning because I was just looking over the stats for June, and for a variety of reasons. No reflection on you. I realised there was quite a few lower energy shows when I wasn't feeling my best, and then I pissed off to Glastonbury for the weekend. I don't think anyone was feeling particularly sorry for me. So yeah, I'm hoping this month we'll be able to sort of ramp things up a little bit as far as super chats and things are concerned, because oh mate, I've been seeing some AI slop that is taking over the internet. The AI slop that is just ruining everything. The dead internet theory, the AI referring to AI and just getting things wronger and wronger and wronger. When I first went on ChatGPT, I typed down who is the first person to visit every country in the world without flying, and it just made up a name. It made up a person who didn't fucking exist. And I'm like, well, no, it's me. And he went, oh yeah, sorry. In fact, let me open up ChatGPT here, right? I'll just open it up on my little browser, right? Who was the first person to visit every country without flying? Better say me. First person, Graham Hughes. Oh, good. Joe. Brilliant. I completed, it says you completed, oh God, it knows who I am. You completed this incredible journey on January the 28th, 2013, when you visited South Sudan. Wrong. I finished it on January the 30th, 2013, when I visited Kaliningrad in Russia, the newest country in the world. You visited all the 193 United member states without setting foot on a plane. That's not quite the way it happened, but whatever. Okay, cool. Right, okay. Extraordinary achievement, still unbeaten. It is still unbeaten. Right. Thanks for the super chats. I was just about to set like a goal, and I'll wibble on. I'll wibble on until the Sparky gets here. Right, we got a Sparky coming round at 10 o'clock apparently. So when there's a knock on the door, oh shit. Oh yeah, that worked. I just have to say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye, and just say it really quick and just go, because I need to go down to the door I need to turn the electricity off, so it's not like I can continue doing the show while they're pissing around at the sparks. Martin, well done for being a member for 6 months. Blimey, that went quick. That's what she said. Anyway, Rosie, 2911, thank you for the £10. Woo! £10. Woo! Happy July, Graham, my friend. Oh, thank you, Rosie, my friend. White rabbits to everyone who celebrates, to all those who observe how fucking hot it is. I'm actually getting a little bit toasty here in my house. Although I didn't notice that the window wasn't open. I should have maybe opened the window before starting. And Bernice Roost, absolutely, Bernice. Trans rights are human rights. Couldn't agree more. It's a fantastic big sign up at Glastonbury that said exactly that, which I got a photo of. Might be able to show you it on my crap phone. I'm really upset about my phone, actually, because I spent all this money getting an expensive SIM card so I could get reception anywhere in Glastonbury. And it wasn't until I watched the videos back, once I got back, from my live streams, that I realised The sound was fucked. It was like this crackly fucking sound all the time, like as I was talking. I'm sorry about that. But there you go. You go, my friends. Trans rights are human rights. Yeah, don't you forget it. Labour need to get that memo, don't they? It's a good idea not to put personal information into ChatGPT. It remembers everything. Best use Claude instead. Says Nick. Well, I mean, it knows who I am. I've got a Wikipedia page, so I can't really run away from that. Mirror ChatGPT on the wall. Who's the most travelled on the wall in the world? No, but when I first asked it, the reason why it's remembered actually is because I went, no, it wasn't. It was me. And then, like, linked to my Wikipedia page. But yeah, the amount of AI slop, and you're seeing videos that are just bullshit. John Oliver's done a segment on this. So if you watch Last Week Tonight, if you use a VPN, you can actually go to YouTube and make it think you're in the States, and then you can watch the segment where he talks about whatever for free on YouTube. If you use a VPN, you can do that. I don't know about the legality of that, so obviously this is not legal advice, but he was talking about AI, and there were these videos about Caroline Levitt having a fight about being able to wear a cross, and the whole thing is AI. It's just AI generated slop. It's an AI voice. Hello, I am an AI bot talking to you about Caroline Levitt, and it had over 1 million views. 1 million views, my friends. 1 million fucking views. Please like and subscribe. Graham, did you pick up any languages on your travels? Thank you very much for the super chat, Simon, and the wonderful question you asked. I'm Scouse, mate. I barely speak English, so any other language is a foreign country to me. An undiscovered country, even. I learned how to say cheers, thank you, and please in most places that I was in. That was like my little thing that I tried to do in each place. Apart from in Tuvalu, I remember the salute being Tigaroi. That's about it. Nastrovia, for anyone in the East Europe, Russia, or Zastrovia, depending on where I was. It was Nas or Zas. L'chaim, that was Israel. Not the best place to go and visit at the moment. Where else was Prost, Germany, Salut, and French, I think, is Salut. I think that's in Spanish as well, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, I just a bit of languages. My brain is just not. And you're gonna watch this and you're gonna go, oh, stop making out that you can't do it, Graham, because you're probably just lazy. But I might just be lazy. But I don't think that I have the correct brain for languages, and I'll tell you why I think this. I find it really, really difficult to spell English words out loud. If you ask me how to spell a word, I find it very difficult. If someone gives me a string of numbers, like more than 2 at a time, I find it really, really hard to memorize them. They just go straight out my head. They go in one ear and come out the other. I've got friends who are really good at languages, and one in particular, right? He can speak, I think, 10 languages now. He speaks Italian, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Sicilian, Mandarin Chinese. He speaks Thai. Like, the guy can just talk all these languages. And I think that he's a magician or a wizard or something. I don't know how he does it. But he's also a musician, right? And he has got a musician's ear. He can hear something being played on the radio, and then he can play it on the guitar. I don't know how he does that. I can read music. I can read. There you go. There's a language I can read other than English. I can read notes on a stave, and tell you what notes they correspond to on a piano, or what keys they respond to on the piano. But I can't just hear a song on the radio and go, oh, this is the chord progression there. Yeah, go from a C minor to an F to a G. I just can't do it. I just don't have the aptitude. I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah. And then just go back to the whole thing and just stick to what you're good at. Not very good with languages. I'm really sorry. I find it really difficult. So back to the spelling bit. When I'm trying to spell something out for Catherine through sign language, I find it really difficult. Not because I don't know the signs for what I want to say. It's because I find it really difficult to spell stuff in my head out loud. Like, I can look at a word that I've written and see that it looks wrong. The shape of it looks wrong to me, but I don't necessarily know the correct way of spelling it. But if I was trying to like spell Azerbaijan to a deaf person, I'd be A, B, E, R, as it would just take me ages. And I watched the signers. I watched the signers on the Parliament channel and stuff, and they have a signer on, and they're so quick at spelling stuff, right? And I can't keep up. I can't. If I turn the sound off and I can, know a little bit of BSL, I can't. When they do the finger spelling, I can't understand what they're saying. It just goes too fast for me. So when Kat's trying to finger spell something back to me, like across the room or something, she has to do it really slowly and really deliberately in order for me to understand it. Just a bit shit at a few things. I hear you're a transphobe, Voldemort, says Vendetta. Yeah. Christopher says, I can read foreign languages, but I struggle hearing people in English, so I've got no hope if someone talks in a completely different language. Yeah. I mean, that... And also, look, I hate saying this because I think it's shit that this is the case. But when you're talking to someone in France, right, and you try your shit French, and they reply to you in English, I understand that it's frustrating, and you're like, oh, but I'm trying to test out my French. But here's the thing. Your French needs to be better than their English. Because all you're trying to do is communicate. What you're trying to do is make yourself known. It's not up to that person, that random person that you meet on the street, to teach you a foreign language. It's not their job, And if they don't know any English at all, yes, a few words can get you a long way. But if they do speak English, you just end up falling back into speaking English because it's just easier and you both have more of an idea what you're talking about. I'd read something about like if a Japanese business person meets a business person from India, they'll probably speak in English to each other. Or if they're German, they probably speak in English to each other. So neither of them have like a competitive advantage over the other. But also, it's unlikely for someone from Germany for their Japanese to be that good and vice versa. Chris C, my friend, that is very kind of you. You dropped 5 good English pounds from above. The dove from above. Cool. Labour need to tackle the 42.6 billion tax gap before they start attacking society's most vulnerable. The biggest scroungers are the wealthy minority. Yes, Chris C. You're absolutely right. Like, this is what we need to keep saying. It is us versus the billionaires. It's us versus the billionaires. Are you a billionaire? No. Then you're with us. Stop shilling for the billionaires. They're not going to give you any of their money. They're not going to share it out. They're not going to come and help you, buy your council house. They're not going to do it. They don't give a shit about you. All they give a shit about is smoking cigars on Chesterfield cigars, on Chesterfield sofas in their posh, exclusive gentleman's club in Belgravia, which is where the HQ for refuck is. I mean, it's in Belgravia. They talk about the metropolitan elites. They call me and they call you the metropolitan elites while sitting on a fucking Chesterfield in fucking Belgravia. Fuck me sideways. Right. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Not good at languages either. Well, except for COBOL, Fortran, C, C++, Python, JavaScript, HTML, and various assemblers. That's pretty cool. When I was in Bocas del Toro, there was a friend of mine who lived over there, and he was a programmer, and he was a digital nomad, and he traveled around on his yacht, and he had a satellite uplink. This is before Starlink, so I don't know what exactly he used. Probably cost him a lot of money. Anyway, his boat was called the C++, as in the sea, like the deep blue sea, plus plus. That was the name of his yacht. Which I think is cool as fuck. But, I'm just a bit... My other favourite name for a yacht was Naughty Naughty, as in nautical. Naughty Naughty. Goes to channel 69. And Mr. Tusk 27. Graham, you may be borderline dyslexic. Being bilingual is a positive thing from childhood. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, if I'd grown up in a multilingual family and we were talking 2 languages, I'm sure I would do a lot better at speaking in another language. If I was born in North Wales, I'd probably be able to speak Welsh, but now I can't. Apparently, if you don't learn some certain sounds in Welsh as a baby, it makes it very difficult to actually speak the language as a grown-up. Properly, anyway. You get corrected all the time. Nick and Diff, the French and the Icelandic and lots of European countries are just amazing at English. Makes our education in foreign languages look pathetic, and it is pathetic. Yeah, Nick, you're right. But then again, there is the fact that a lot of media that is consumed all over the world is in English. That's another problem that we've got. Like, we see fuck all Icelandic films. Yeah, I'll listen to Sigur Rós. I've got no idea what the nice man's singing. It's just nice music to me. But it's not something that I feel like I need to know the translation of what they're singing. Although I do think that hoppy polar means hopping into puddles. I've got a feeling that that's exactly what it means, exactly what you think it means. Anyway, if you've ever seen the music video for Hoppy Polar by Sigur Rós, then you'll know what I mean. Kate says, it's really sad and disturbing, the changes in climate. There's been no toads spawning next to me. I've seen one all spring, summer. Yeah, it's really shit. And do you know what we're getting now? Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes coming up from the south, and they're moving here in greater and greater numbers. And you have mosquitoes, you have a greater risk of malaria, you have a greater risk of Japanese encephalitis and elephantitis and dengue fever and yellow river fever and Nile fever and fucking night fever, Zika, and more of a chance of getting that. More of a chance of getting what's that other one? There's one that's shit. It's not Ebola, is it? No, that doesn't come from mosquitoes. There's another one that comes from mosquitoes. They transmit about 50 different vectors. They're absolutely disgraceful animals. Cheeky bastards. There's one disease, and you always have to spell it with a capital because it's named after a river. Like the Nile fever, Nile River fever, whatever it's called. You've got to spell Nile with a capital because it's referring to the Nile. But then for other diseases, you don't have to spell it with a capital. But yeah, the changes in the climate are clear and are happening. And America, in this new big bastard bill that we were discussing last night with me and Mikey, it's going to absolutely fucking gut the protections for the environment and any investment in green energy going forward. So 85% of the investment in America that was going forward over the next 5 years was in green energy, was in solar panels and solar panels and wind energy, wind turbines, and Trump is getting rid of all that, and it's just going to be pumping out as much oil and gas and accelerating climate change as much as humanly possible, so that, you know, the second most populous state or the third most populous state in America, Florida, goes underwater, because that's what the Floridians want. This is the future that the Conservatives want. They want to lose all their beachfront property. Mar-a-Lago will be underwater pretty soon. Trump won't care because he'll be brown bread by then. But, you know, he'll made loads of money for ne'er-do-wells before then. Sarah says, I live by Barry Docks. There's a lot of water. I worry about mozzies. Yeah, I used to be bothered by a lot of buzzy houseflies every summer. Seen 2 so far this year. It's okay. I don't miss flies, but it's not a good sign. Yeah. Also, when you used to drive. So if we drove up from Glastonbury back in the 90s, we'll get back and the front of our car will be covered in squish bugs. And we drove up yesterday and the front of the car, I mean, I'm not going to say it looks like it's just gone through a car wash because it totally hasn't, but there are like millions of squish bugs. I remember my dad once he had a Honda Goldwing motorbike and he once drove it to Denmark for a jolly. And I remember when he got back, because he had like a plastic windscreen on it, and it was just absolutely coated with bugs. Like, you couldn't see through the windscreen. It was that, well, you couldn't just about. But yeah, it was. And don't worry, you can on that particular motorbike, if you sat up, you can see over the windscreen. It's just put your head down, so you're not getting all bugs in your face, which was kind of required back then, but now not so much. It's one of the things that I don't understand with people who don't wear motorcycle helmets. You know, in America, they make a big thing about it's their freedom not to wear motorcycle helmets, which just blows my mind. It's like, why would you want to brag about that? You know, I have the freedom to endanger my own life, but also having insects fly into your face when you're traveling on a motorbike at 70 miles an hour is not fun. I'll tell you that now. It is not fun. Or if it's raining, having rain driving into your face at 70 miles an hour is not fun. Like it is particularly grim. Even going on my boat, which maybe got up to like, I don't know, fucking 20 miles an hour if I was doing really well. If it was raining, it was like having little tiny darts thrown at my face at a great rate of knots. Yeah, not fun. So wear a helmet for more reasons than one. During the heat wave of 76, we had the plague of ladybirds. They were like Kerry Brock. Nice to look at, but as annoying as fuck, says Acro Dave. That's a very random. That's a very random quote reference. That listen, I've got to pour this into. I've just got to pour this into here. Sorry. Keep it warm for the rest of the show. Right. Okay, where was I? There we go. We were talking about this fucking bill. So, I was trying to set the tone, wasn't I? So this bill is being debated and voted on today. It's the second reading today, which is the first time that the House of Commons gets to vote on it. And the claimed savings of $5 billion a year by 2030, concessions that were made to backbench MPs, 126 of them, was wiped $3 billion off that projection, but it's still expected to drive 150,000 people into poverty. That's down from 250,000, so, you know, but still, it's driving people into poverty. Labour shouldn't be doing this. And the concessions, I'm going to talk about the fact that the UK is the sixth biggest economy in the world. There is a simple and effective way of raising our economy, like getting our economy going again, and it says rejoining the single market. We don't have to rejoin the EU. Let's get back in the single market. Let's just do that. I think we're moving towards that with the alignment of standards for things that are made in the UK, but we need to go one step further. We need to go into a customs union with the EU. The Tories spent millions on customs facilities that are never going to be used now. Millions. They built these concrete monstrosities so that things could be checked, and now that's not going to happen. So the concessions so far are that existing claimants won't lose benefits. Stephen Timms is going to lead a review of PIP in co-production with disability groups, and they've fast-tracked a £1 billion support package for people who are disabled. But the rebellion hasn't gone away. And this Stephen Timms review is set to report in autumn 2026 after the new PIP rules kick in. The MP said it's predetermined and won't affect the rollout. Criticism from disability groups have been heard as well, as they're being used to cover that they're being used to cover Labour making these cuts. You know, rather than partners, they're being used as a deflection tool. You know, a human shield, one might say. MPs like my friend Debbie Abrams and also Rachel McAskill and Chi Onwora and also Marie Tidball, they're still not convinced. And 62 MPs have currently signed on to a new amendment, but more are likely to abstain. Hillier, who previously led the rebellion, is now wavering again after seeing the fine print. So Hillier, who said, yeah, this is okay last week, is now like, for disabled MPs like Maria Tidball, co-production without consultation is a contradiction. And the most common refrain of this is that this bill puts budget lines in front, well, they put it before people, which we shouldn't be doing. There's no argument about this as far as I'm concerned. And people telling me that we can't afford it, it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. We can afford it. We can afford billions to be spent on new submarines. We can afford this. We can. It's just that the money in this country, so much of it is tied up with insanely rich people who don't want to pay anything, a penny more than they have to. They pay for clever accountants, so they don't have to pay a penny more tax than they absolutely have to. Tax avoidance in this country is seen as a good thing. You're rewarded for your canniness. You're rewarded for having the money. And this idea that like people who are on low incomes can budget their way out of poverty is bullshit. It's bullshit. You can't put you... When you're poor, when you're not a millionaire, when you're living off £11,800 a year, you don't... It doesn't matter how much you budget. Your life is going to cost more than if you're dead rich. Nigel Farage doesn't have to spend 200 quid on the fucking train to get from London to wherever bloody disgusting coke-addled sex party he's going to up in the Outer Hebrides. He doesn't have to pay hundreds of pounds on the train to do that. He gets flown in his private helicopter or his private jet that someone else pays for because he's rich. And when you're rich, you get loads of free stuff. You think any rich person paid to get into Glastonbury? Do you think they queued up for... Well, do you think they went online and got a ticket? Did they fuck? I mean, you know, little proviso there. I did for the first time in my life, the first time after 28 years of going to Glastonbury, I finally got myself in on a freebie. Even when I did a talk at Glastonbury a couple of years ago with Danny fucking Price and Supertansky and A. Thompson, I didn't get in for free. I didn't get a fucking free fucking pass. I had to pay. I had to pay to get in. Oh, when I saw Blair at Wembley Stadium a couple of years ago, I had to pay. In fact, when I went to see Blair at the O2 in Newcastle, right, I had to pay. I had to pay for my ticket and Kat's ticket, even though they were tickets that I got them through the band, but like it was like a charitable donation or some such nonsense. Yeah, charitable donation to fucking Ticketmaster. Anyway, so yeah, met a friend whose sister has a form of MS. He was complaining that she probably gets more money than him. I worry that these cuts to benefits appeal to some because they believe it's cushy. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Nick. People are like, oh, they just sit on the house all day and get free money. And that's not the way it works. That's the way it works if you're really rich. You can do nothing all day and your money will earn money. Like, if Rishi Sunak stays in bed all day, he'll still earn £3 million in a day. If he just stays in bed. Doesn't have to do anything, doesn't have to make a phone call. Just sits on his bed, doom scrolling on TikTok. So I'm opening, trying to open my Vaseline again. Maybe we should just leave it open. Bob Villain MC had really long shoes, says Fillmore Music. The dishonesty of the claim that this is a moral policy and that we can't afford to pay the disabled is enough to survive is puke making. Says Peter. Yeah, Peter, you're not wrong, mate. You're really not wrong. I mean, one of the things that affects you when you get out the country and you go to places that are developing is you see poverty. You see poverty on the streets, right? And it's shocking until it's not, because you see it so often. It becomes less shocking as you travel around and you realize, okay, this is fairly normal for this country. However, the most shocked I've ever been at someone being on the streets was in America, was in LA, where a guy was clearly in a bad way. He'd been burnt in a fire, and I couldn't believe that he was begging on the streets. I couldn't believe the state wasn't taking care of him. But that's America for you. Paula Thomas, a country that I do not want to become. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. They are still not admitting that this bill will lead to more disabled people being unemployed because they won't have the money to work to travel to work safely. Yeah. Paula, so like I think it's crazy that pensioners get free bus fare, but children don't. I think that is absolutely fucking mad and maddening. Like, parents who are not doing so well, they have to buy their uniform for their little moppets. They have to buy that uniform from one supplier, and it's hundreds of pounds. And then they have to send the kids to school, and they've got to pay for the bus. There's so few free bus passes these days. It doesn't matter that you live 3 miles away. Yeah, you can walk. Yeah, little 11-year-old kid walking to school along the little country roads, 60 miles an hour and no pavements. In the winter, in the rain, 3 fucking miles. If that was happening in fucking Angola, you'd have a video about it. This is little Jimmy. Little Jimmy has to walk 3 miles to go to school every day just to learn. And you're like, yeah, 6 mile round trip to school and back. That seems like something that shouldn't happen in this country, but it does. It fucking does. Now, if you can afford a car, You're all right, aren't you? It's not going to cost you £6 to take your kid and drop them off at school. It's going to clog up the fucking roads, though. So I would make all public transport free. I'd just make it free. Unless you're going into city. If you're going around a particular local area, make it free. Make it free, make it regular, make it paid for through taxes. That's it. It's free for everyone. But in lieu of that, make it the employer's duty. If you have more than 5 employees, you have to pay for them to get to work. That might mean a company car. It might, but it probably won't. It probably just mean covering their fucking bus fare. How about that? You got more than 5 employees, you have to cover their bus fare in and out of work. And this is why they get really upset about working from home. Fuck off. Working from home allows disabled people to work a lot more effectively than they can if they're trying to get on the fucking bus in a wheelchair. Face-to-face meetings for Catherine are a lot more difficult than being on the internet and having Zoom meetings, because she can get subtitles. She gets subtitles on the Zoom meetings. You don't get subtitles in real life. You can put Google Transcribe on the table in front of you. But, if you've got a group of people and they're talking over each other and you might miss something important and it's maddening. And you always see these able-bodied, white, middle-class, middle-aged wankers on the TV going, "Oh, people working from home, it's a bloody disgrace. Bloody disgrace. Why are they working from home?" Because they can. They can. These journalists who write for these fucking papers, they go into fucking work. Richard Littlejohn doesn't go into work. He lives in fucking Florida. He just writes his shit from his fucking house saying people should go into work. No, he means the lower orders should go into work. Plebs like you and me. The other people. The people he does not give a shit about. Well, we only got 3 super chats in during the goal. I'll give 2 of you because we had 2 before they came on. But if we get another 7 super chats in the next 1 minute and 40 seconds, I'll continue on past 10 o'clock, which I probably need to do because I haven't even fucking got halfway through me notes here. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so let's talk for a moment about Starmer's argument here, talking about fiscal responsibility. He argues that reforms are essential to the long-term stability of the welfare state. I don't disagree with that, but reforms don't mean cuts, okay? They don't need to be one and the same. He claims Labour need to be seen as credible economic managers, and I agree with that. That is a reasonable thing to say. We don't want what happened with Liz Truss to happen with Labour. We now have 50 seconds to drop in super chats. If you're feeling fruity, don't worry if you're not feeling particularly flush. Have a chat, says Sarah Davis. Thank you so much, Sarah. That is very kind of you. I might wibble on just because of Sarah. You see the effect that people have. That you can change the future. It's like stepping on a bug in the Cretaceous period, the Cretaceous era. Don't step on the bug; you'll change everything. Rachel Reeves has said that there needs to be welfare changes to show that the OBR, that her spring statement adds up. So she's making the same argument. We can't be seen as Trussonomics, like Kwasi Kwarteng's kamikaze fucking mini budget. And they're both framing this as like a broken system that needs to be fixed. And I agree to a certain extent. And I think most Labour MPs, including the rebels, they agree on this one. They're not arguing whether it's necessary or not to have some kind of reforms in our benefit system. Our benefit systems were well and truly done up the wrong un by Ian Duncan Donuts and his gobshite mates when the Tories were in power. And the Tories are all about individual responsibility. They never see they don't have any concept of collective society. They don't see society as a thing. It's all about individualism. It's all about libertarianism. What's good for the individual, not the sovereign individual, as Rees-Mogg's dad wrote a book called The Sovereign Individual. And this idea that sovereignty isn't something that's shared amongst the community. It is something very much that is just individualistic. Me, money, money, money. Grubby money, money, money. Talking of grubby money, money, money. We didn't put 50p in the idiot. Oh well, I'll have to power down now. Ooh. You just watch me sit here for 20 minutes not talking. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So Rachel Reeves is going to argue, or she has argued actually, that these cuts were baked into the growth projections, and without them, Labour's fiscal strategy will begin to unravel. But here's the thing: there is a super secret mega trick that they could do right now. Okay, so let's say that the joining the single market, that's a little bit off. Okay, that's got to take a little while to get to. Let's make a customs union with the EU tomorrow, because that will boost our economy and it'll bring investments into the UK like you would not believe. Do it tomorrow, and that'll get you money. I'll give you your five billion. There you go, mate. Sorted. Ooh, talking about money. Thank you very much, Plum Duff, for the £20 super chat. Woohoo! In honour of all you good people on this channel. Oh, thank you so much, Plum Duff. And there are very, very lovely people on this channel. And I love the way everyone has little chats in the chat when I'm wibbling on about something. Wayne's in the chat. Capitalist filth. Lol. Are you talking about me? Are you calling me capital? You just watch it, you. We're kind of missing. We're missing the zaniness of Wayne on our Friday night chats. We need to get Wayne back, but obviously he's working at the moment on Friday nights. So when you're not working, mate, let's get you back on, because it's been too long. It's been too long. So moving on, we're talking about the scenarios here, well, I mean, just talk about the fiscal thing. I mean, Starmer says that the changes won't affect child poverty significantly, but like I said earlier, 150,000 people are expected to fall into poverty as a result of this. Like, the civil service impact assessments disagree with Number 10's optimism on this. And what makes more sense to you, right? You take money from disabled people and they do better, or you take money from disabled people and they do worse. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think if you give more money, they're going to have more money, and if you give them less money, they're going to have less money? Doesn't that make sense? I don't know. I don't know how that can't. But Labour are like, no, we'll give them less money and that'll give them more money somehow. Voodoo economics. Oh, moving on. We've got the Third Eye Blind. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat, Third Eye Blind. That's very kind of you. It's all just saving money on the backs of the country's worst off. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. It's an absolute fucking nonsense. So, Labour's majority at the moment is about 150. It's about 156. 156 is their working majority, because that excludes the Speaker, a couple of there's a few Labour MPs who have lost the whip. So it's 156, I think. When I last checked, if anyone wants to just double check on that finger for me, because I don't like being wrong. I am wrong a lot of the time. I just don't like to be. And there's estimated 40 to 50 Labour MPs who are going to vote against this, and more are planning to abstain. And the official rebellion threshold to defeat the bill would be around 80, I think. Labour MPs voting no. Conservatives are voting against the bill, but not to oppose cuts, just to damage Labour, obviously. They don't think the cuts go hard enough because they're evil. It's like the bullshit going around with this big bastard bill in America at the moment. The US senator are still voting. Voter armor. They're still going with no end in sight. Fucking crazy. And Thailand's Prime Minister has been suspended over a leaked phone call with former strongman. Ooh, is it Jeff Capes? What a weird way to describe it. Anyway, moving back on to what might happen with today's votes. The bill might pass narrowly with abstentions and soft opposition. Labour whips moved to declare victory, but at a massive internal cost to the party. and that more fights will come at committee stage, and obviously there's a third reading waiting along the line. Then you'd have a significant Labour rebellion, but the bill passes. Anything over 40 MPs voting against will massively eclipse Starmer's biggest previous rebellion of 16, which was right at the beginning of their reign of terror back in July last year, when they actually they suspended the whip for 6 months for all MPs who voted against Labour. Well, they voted, didn't necessarily vote against Labour. Let's get it right. They voted for an SNP amendment to the King's Speech, and Labour had to make it very clear that they were having none of that. And half of those MPs have come back into the fold, and the other half are still out. But also, this is causing deep damage to internal unity and also public image. Like, Labour's done a lot of good. And you're probably going to watch this and go, Graham, what the fuck are you on about? They've been a pile of shit. Yes, they have been a pile of shit towards trans people. They've been a pile of shit towards disabled people. They've been a pile of shit towards the elderly who needed the winter fuel allowance. Yes, okay, right. But they've done a lot of good stuff. We just don't hear about it because it's absolutely been eclipsed by all the shit that they're doing for no good reason. Like picking on trans people. Why? What? In 2016... the Conservative government in 2016 was talking about self-recognition, self-ID for trans people, and we've gone backwards since then, massively backwards because of gruesome billionaires like J.K. Rowling, who just hates what she sees in the mirror, and she decided to take that hatred out on everybody else, possibly for looking more feminine than she thinks that she does herself. I mean, you know. Anyway, if the bill is defeated, though, this could be absolutely catastrophic for Starmer. This early on welfare by his own MPs, it could trigger reshuffles. It could lead to new legislation, which would be great. Can we have some new stuff that's better than this? But also, it could trigger a leadership contest in the Labour Party. It could lead to a vote of no confidence in Keir Starmer. I mean, he's playing with fire here. I don't know why they've gone so hard on this, but look, this scenario is extremely unlikely. I'm sorry to burst anyone's bubble on this, but it's not impossible. But it would require all of the people we think are going to abstain. It requires them to vote no, which may or may not happen. We'll see what happens during the debate this afternoon and evening. But the political fallout here, whatever happens, this isn't over. For Starmer, this is his third U-turn in a month after winter fuel and the grooming inquiry. Now this, serious cracks are appearing in the discipline and unity narrative, and the reputation for control and competence looks increasingly fragile. Brittle is a better word. Brittle. And welfare cuts have reopened the long dormant ideological divisions in Labour. There's echoes of the Iraq War and Blair and Brexit and all this, where Labour have gone the wrong path on certain issues in the past. You know, for me, the Iraq War and Brexit were two of the issues that Labour should have been absolutely bang on point about, but they weren't. By the way, we blame Blair for what happened with Britain going into the Iraq War, and that's fair enough. It was his government in charge at the time, but it wasn't his decision alone. And blaming it all on Blair absolves every other motherfucker who was in Parliament who voted for it, including the Tories who voted for it, and all the Labour MPs who voted for it, and some Lib Dem MPs. They voted for this, right? They voted for the Iraq War. It was Parliament's decision, not Tony Blair's. I know he pushed up the dodgy dossier about them having weapons of mass destruction ready to deploy in 15 minutes and all that bullshit, which wasn't true. And now, whenever Tony Blair is wheeled out, everyone goes, "Oh no, not again!" And I don't want that future for Starmer. Not because I like him or anything. It's just I don't want to be in that situation again where you've got a leader who seems fairly fucking competent, but then has the whole uh, premiership like over overridden by this fucking shite decision that they made. Blair on Iraq, the previous leader of Labour on Brexit, and now we've got Starmer doing these really stupid things. I mean, we need another U-turn. We need a U-turn on trans rights massively as soon as fucking possible, because what they are planning at the moment, the anti-trans activists, the TERFs, the germs, they want fucking genocide. They want to get rid of entire segments of society. They want to erase them from existence. That's their end goal, and we know this because they keep fucking saying it out loud through their faces. It's not like even reading between the lines with the likes of J.K. Rowling, who is just one of the most hideous human beings now ever on the planet. Like I said in that video I made a few weeks ago, if she died in 2010, she would have been given a fucking state funeral. You know, people would have been weeping in the streets now. Everyone will have a fucking party. So there's a huge erosion of trust between Labour and disability rights groups. And MPs who are pushing this bill saying that it protects the vulnerable, but the people who are most effective are saying otherwise. And disabled people once again feel excluded from decisions that are being made about their own lives, in the same way that trans people were excluded from the Supreme Court decision in this country that listened to anti-trans groups. It listened to horrible little twatty TERF motherfuckers. They were allowed to come in and preach their fucking hate gospel. But were they going to ask anyone who's actually trans what it's like to be trans and the difficulties they face in everyday life, the prejudices, the bigotry that they face? No. We're not going to listen to anyone who's trans. We're only going to listen to fucking lady fucking moneybags, bloody J.K. Rowling going, I don't want mirrors in these toilets. Smoking a fucking cigar like a massive gobshite. So look, Labour is a broad coalition. It's unions. It is left-wingers. It's centralists. It's disabled people, campaigners, activists, and they don't need to keep everyone happy all the time. I think that's unrealistic. But when you've got this many people kicking up this much fuss, you've taken a wrong turn, and there must be a way out of this situation. And then we've got what the public thinks. Many voters are unsure what these reforms will actually do. Starmer's overall ratings are holding, but starting to slide with the Labour base. And 138 disability and human rights organisations signed a joint statement against this bill. Voices on Radio 5 Live and The Guardian, social media have highlighted the emotional, never mind the financial impact, but the emotional impact on people who are like, fuck, what if I lose my benefits? What if I, don't have as much money as I get at the moment? How am I going to survive? How am I going to live? And the key message is, we're human beings. We're human beings just trying to live. And that was Viv on the BBC. So she said, we are human beings just trying to live. And the governments are making that more difficult. And the impact on the mental health of people who already might be suffering from mental health problems or physical health problems that mean that they, can't do what they would like to do with their lives. And life for disabled people, and my heart goes out to anyone watching this who is disabled. I know. It's more difficult. Everything's more difficult. The able-bodied people just don't think about this shit. They never do. And because and then you've got these gobshites like the fuckers who are saying, we need to get rid of diversity training. No, piss off. People need diversity training so that when they're dealing with a deaf customer or dealing with someone who's blind or someone who is in a wheelchair, they know how to make the reasonable adjustments required in order for that conversation to flow, or for that meeting to be held, or for that thing to be resolved. They need to know, because if no one points it out to them, they will never fucking know. What are all deaf people supposed to have on a t-shirt? Like, I can read lips, but I need to see your face. Please don't stand with a bright light behind you, like the sun or a window in a restaurant. What are they supposed to wear T-shirts that say that? No, just people should be trained. People not trained, but people should be told that, hey, if you're talking to a disabled person and they can lip read, these are the things to do. Don't over enunciate the word you're saying, because that makes it more difficult to understand what you're actually saying. And be aware that if you have a beard or a strong regional accent, it might be a little bit difficult for the deaf person to follow what you are saying if they're not used to your lips. And then we've got this, what this crisis sort of reveals on a sort of broader theme here. Labour's leadership wants to look grown up and appeal to markets and the media and business. But the means of doing that via stealth cuts, it betrays the party's moral purpose. And I'll argue with Phil until the cows come home about this. Labour, to me, have always been socially progressive. Always. Back to when they were first, when they first had a proper majority for a sustained amount of time in 1945 to 51. Was it 51? Was it 50? The first Labour, after the war, they brought in the NHS. Harold Wilson's government, the late 60s Labour government, they were the ones who abolished the death penalty. They made it legal to be gay. They brought in abortion legislation so that women weren't necessarily going to jail for abortion, something that still hasn't actually been cleared up to this fucking day. So, they always came across as more socially progressive than the Tories, which is, look, the Dark Lords of the Sith are more fucking socially progressive than the fucking Tories. But, that's the way I always saw them. That's the way I always saw Labour. And that flies in the face of that. It betrays the party's moral purpose for being the party of the people and not the party of the oligarchs, not the policy of the billionaires. Suzanne, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. It's very kind of you. Absolutely, and disabled in America and scared to death. I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this, Suzanne. It's so shit. It is just lazy, arrogant, ableist motherfuckers who just don't get it. They just don't get it. And some of them, it's not their fault because it's never been pointed out to them. Until a man is told, hey, if you're walking down the street at night and there's a woman walking in front of you, cross the fucking road, lads. Because otherwise they won't think of it. They won't go, oh, hang on, maybe I should cross the road so this woman doesn't think I'm following her down the street at night. Okay? Cross the fucking road, dickhead. But until someone points that out to you, it might not seem obvious. It seems obvious in hindsight, but these things, once someone says it to you, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to just change my behavior just slightly to make people feel a little less threatened, concerned, depressed, fearful. The negative emotions. Well, why would you want to put that on people? Why would you want to make people's lives more miserable? Like, why? What is going through the heads of the people who vote for this shit or push for this shit? It pisses me off. I might have to go in a minute. I don't know if the Sparky's going to arrive at 10 o'clock. Bang on the dot. He might be, because I told him I'm doing the show this morning, so he might be waiting in his car over the road. I do not know. In his van, I guess. They have vans, don't they, Sparkies? So let's just talk about the disconnection from the grassroots, the loudest voices from the public. Disabled activists, carers, NHS workers aren't being held. Starmer's aren't being heard. Starmer's inner circle appears to value economic headlines over human dignity. And then there's a risk of fragmentation. Every time Labour demoralises its base, it pushes people towards the Greens or the Independents or just complete disengagement. Today's vote might not lose Starmer the Commons, but it could lose him something more important, which is trust, which is hanging by a thread right now for many, many people in the progressive community. So we should support the rebels, right? First and foremost, my MP, rebel, your MP, get in touch with them. They can take a stand, even if the whip comes down. Look, amplify disabled voices. Don't let Labour speak for them or without them. Together we are stronger. And even if you're not disabled yourself, even if you're not trans yourself, you're not a woman, or if you've got any kind of platform, allies are absolutely essential. And don't be a twatty ally. Don't be like, I'm just doing this, for the clicks or whatever. Do it to spread the message and make people understand what's at stake and why people are upset, because they might not know, especially if all they consume is mainstream media, which is never going to go through any of this stuff and with a fine-tooth comb and go, this is why people are upset. This is why we should care. Because they don't care. They just don't. They just don't. So yeah, and don't forget, this is just the second reading. Goes to the House of Lords, goes through more bullshit, committees, blah, 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 comes back for a third and final reading. So you've got the committee stage, third reading, can still bring amendments and more rebellion. So we will see what happens in the future. That might mean that the bill gets through, but Labour MPs have got it in their heads that when it comes to that final crunch vote in a few months' time, or whenever it takes place, they'll say, right, this is it, ride or die. You either change this, or we're not going to vote for this amendment. We're not going to vote for this bill. You either put in this amendment, or we're not going to vote for it. So this today might not be the day, but that day is coming very soon when Labour it is ride or die. To win power, like Labour did. I mean, they've got to do the right thing, To hold on to the power that they've got, they need to do the right thing. They need to be seen doing the right thing for the majority of the population. And I don't think going after disabled people and benefit cuts and all this is the right way to go. You have voters who vote for refuck who want to see more taxes on the rich. And they vote for rich people, It's like this idea that we all hate rich people. I kind of do. But, that would mean that you'd hate Batman. I kind of do. Because, he's a rich, aristocratic fuckboy who decides to go and beat up, working class criminals around Gotham City, which I think is a bit shit. This aristocratic heir to an absolute fortune dressed up as a bat to go out and beat the shit out of people who have not had the best, not been dealt the best hand in life. He doesn't go around beating the shit out of politicians, does he? He doesn't go around beating up fucking Donald Trump or anyway, just saying. Anyway, so Starmer has framed today's debate as a test of economic credibility. But for millions who are watching, particularly those on benefits who need those benefits to survive, it's a test of moral integrity. It just is. And if Labour wins the vote but loses its soul in the progress, it's not a victory. It's not a victory. It's just a delay. It's just a delay on a upcoming disaster. Benefit cuts are never progressive, and just because they come with a red rose hat doesn't mean that they're magically progressive. They're just not. And if Labour had better comms, they could communicate to the rest of us why this is a good thing, they might be they might be better off. Oh, I just got a message. That's nice. Dad, save my new number. No one calls me Dad. So I guess that's just one of those fishing expeditions to get money out of people. Please don't fall for shit like that. Ultimate Batman is not rich, says Trip. I'm banging my head against a brick wall. We paid in, know what money did, and that SP get out of our pension enough already. Chris C, my parents moved abroad and they pay tax on their pension. I think that's okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. You paid into your teacher's pension, but the state pension is paid for by the current generation of workers. I don't see why the current generation should pay for OAPs to live abroad. Well, they're living abroad. They're not using our roads. And, if you paid your stamp, you get your... It's not much. I mean, if it was loads, fair enough. The private pensions that people got in the 80s and 90s, they piss me off, like final salary pensions. I can't believe that there were people out there who've sat in their house and done fuck all for 30 years. 30 years when they could have been working. They're not senile yet. They're in their 80s now and they haven't bothered working. They just sat in their house for 30 fucking years earning £52,000 a year. How the fuck is that right? £1,000 a week for doing nothing except having a fancy job back in the 80s. Early retirement, 30 years of doing fuck all. Jesus, that gets my back up. And they could continue to complain because these are the same people who read the fucking Mail newspaper and go, bloody everything's woke. Everything I don't like is woke. And just before anyone else says it, I'm just going to say not all boomers. Anyway, the Sparky's not here yet. I saw someone walk past the window, so maybe they're going to be getting here in a moment. But since Sparky's not here, just yet, I will head over to the papers. Should we go for the paper review? Papers. We've got the Mirror here. Britain bakes. High heats and more to come. In fact, if I click on it, it actually makes it smaller. So I'll just put it back there. And this is the COVID inquiry. Care home hell. Generation slaughter. Needless deaths of vulnerable blamed on profound Tory failure. Absolutely. They murdered over 100,000 people, the Tories, and they should all go to fucking jail for the rest of their lives for it. Boris Johnson should die in jail for what he's done. And then we've got the Daily Tory graph here. No, we haven't got an advert. Why are you doing that? Move over, Taylor. A superstar is born. That's Olivia Rodrigo at Glastonbury. She was all right. She was all right. She brought Robert Smith out. He looked a bit like, kind of like, what's even happening right now? I love Robert Smith. BBC boss at festival for rappers hate chant. Davey made decision on anti-Israel broadcast that left footage online all day. Okay. Katie Boulter, Britain's number 2, secured the finest victories of her career, knocking out 9th seed Paula Badosa at Wimbledon last night. So we're well into Wimbledon, so brace yourself for many, many pictures of Emma Raducanu. We've got Reeves set to slash ISA tax allowance. Rachel Reeves is poised to announce the cut to annual tax-free to ISA allowance. Okay, cool. Royal train scrapped after 150 years. US deal at risk over alcohol advert ban. So Kia has warned that proposals to ban alcohol advertising risk jeopardizing a trade deal with the United States. Fuck off. As someone who knows 2 people who have died from alcoholism. Fuck off. Couldn't say that enough. Fuck off, America. The expert's guide to heat wave safety. NHS will prioritise UK doctors and nurses. 10-year plan curbs recruitment from overseas. BBC boss left Glastonbury death chance on. Fuck. I mean, it's hard enough keeping up with like all the shit that's going on at Glastonbury at the best of times. Do you know what I mean? At the actual festival. Direct to the BBC. It's not like you've just got 4 channels to keep an eye on. You've got all the iPlayer stuff who are showing all this streaming stuff, and they probably just didn't know. I mean, you know, I think what the guy said, I think what Bob Villan said was fucking stupid. But this hoo-ha about it, I think it's just, I think it's massively overblown. Massively overblown. But what do I know? Anyway, oh, there she is. Raducanu's flying start. Wimbledon players and fans enjoyed the hottest start to the tournament. Record temperatures of 32 degrees. Police open inquiry into rap duo and kneecap, which is just really is that the best use of police's time right now? I don't know. Labour bid to woo rebels descend into chaos on eve of welfare vote, which is what we were talking about earlier today. BBC boss has to act now or resign. What the fuck? Really? They're calling... What's this? The Express? They're calling him for his resignation. Oh, fuck off. Right. Emma leads the charge at Red Hot Brits at Wimbledon. It says click to enlarge, and it actually goes smaller if you click on it, which is just... and there you go. Emma Raducanu. Well, actually, we've got to have a picture of the Royals. We've got to have a picture of the Royals. We've got a picture of the Queen looking at Kate. There you go. She's looking at her. Queen's not with her anymore, but, you know, front page news. Sensationally revealed by her own beloved cousin. Is that even I feel like I'm in a time loop. Do I keep seeing the same headlines over and over again? Rebel MPs are set to humiliate PM today. Well, we will see. We will see. You ain't seen nothing sweat is the front cover of the Daily Star with the lady in a bikini and also, a swimsuit. And also Oasis for some reason. Investigation into Bob Villan and Kneecap. Number 10 in final push to win over Rebel MPs ahead of welfare vote is the headline of the Eye. Like I say, we will see it. We'll be carrying the latest on this channel later on today. The Vivian's tragic last hours, which is really sad. She was found she was found after 2 days, which is just absolutely heartbreaking. Buffer zone. NATO bolsters the eastern flank. Estonian soldiers during war games by the River Narva. I waded across that river. That's how I got into trouble. That's up in Estonia, which separates their country left and Russia right in May. That bridge has got all barbed wire and stuff over it. That bridge in the background there. The River Narva, which separates the Russian Empire from plucky little Estonia. Diluted welfare reform, half savings, but still pushes 150,000 into poverty. Again, just reiterating what we were talking about today. And Reeves lines up cash ISA cut to channel 300 billion towards London-listed shares. Chancellor Rachel Reeves is expected to announce plans to cut the annual tax-free cash ISA allowance in her Mansion House speech this month in an effort to shift some of the 300 billion cash pile into British companies, which is, fair enough. I keep saying about austerity, it's a shit idea because it means the money doesn't move around, and I wouldn't be constant, not particularly constant in many things, but I wouldn't be constant if I said, oh yeah, we should all have like savings accounts, and thousands of pounds in them that can grow every year. I don't know if that's the best use of British money to be sitting in accounts. I'd rather see it being invested. A better use of police time would be investigating the findings of COVID inquiry. I think the better use of police time would be getting a fucking pigeon out of someone's loft, to be honest with you, mate. Artist says controversial things. Tories clutch pearls. What a surprise. Yeah, from Kate. I mean, they're happy for J.K. Rowling to call for the genocide against trans people who are not currently going out and committing a genocide against anyone. But if anyone says anything about the IDF, then suddenly it's, oh yeah, how very dare you. And can I just reiterate as well, this was an afternoon slot on the West Holt stage. If you haven't been to Glastonbury, you've got the main stage, the pyramid stage, which is fucking massive, unless Neil Young's playing and then hardly anyone's there. And then you got the other stage, which is fucking massive. And then you've got smaller stages like West Holt's and Woodsies and Avalon, etc., etc. And then you've got, the circus tent, the cabaret tent, you've got Block 9, there are loads and loads of different venues around the thing. This wasn't like it was the pyramid stage. It wasn't like it was primetime viewing. It wasn't like people were watching, millions of people were watching it live on the BBC. This was a BBC iPlayer thing. And they missed it. I mean, the BBC fucked up. They should have censored it in the same way that they kept on trying to censor my flag. I was asked, to move my flag at one point during Gracie Abrams because it was getting in the way of the camera and it had the fuck on it. And I thought, well, he was very polite. He said, look, could you just move a little bit to the right and so it's not coming up on the camera. And I'm like, it's the whole point that it's coming up on the camera. No, I just took it down, to be honest with you, because I just wanted to dance. Sometimes I don't want to be a coal miner. I just want to dance. My dad's retired 30 years from being a policeman, moved to France, learned French fluently and written and built a house from ruins, taught for 25 years English to French people for free. He deserves. Yeah, all right, that's nice, Scott. I'm not talking about your dad. I'm talking about people who sit in the house doing nothing, contributing nothing. But when it's the same people who complain about young people not working hard enough or something and saying, young people today have got it so easy. Does anyone still say that? Does anyone actually still believe that? Has the message got through? Has everyone got the memo that young people have it harder than the older generations had when they were their age? A lot harder. Unfortunately, a lot of people believe that the older generation now fought in the fucking war. They're like, well, they deserve what they get. They fought in the war for us. Oh, no, they didn't. All the people who fought in the war are fucking dead, mate. I mean, it was a very long time ago. Oh, Waymaker's got to jump. Can I come on for Morning Brew tomorrow? I have good internet. Well, Morning Brew is not really hi Wayne. It's not really it's not set up for two people to talk on it. Two people to have a chat. The setup's just for one person, but we can do a special extra show if you want. There are things we can talk about. That's fine, but maybe on Thursday. Wayne, are you about on Wednesday? Are you even still there? He's probably not watching. But yeah, maybe Thursday. Tomorrow we've got Geoscope. Oh no, tonight we've got Geoscope with Ollie at 7:30. So watch out for that. Tomorrow we've got Morning Brew at 9. We've got Prime Minister's Questions at 12, and at I think we might stay at the slightly earlier slot at 5 o'clock, or we might change it to 6 o'clock. We'll have to make a decision on that together. But me and Rach are going down the rabbit hole again, and we're going to be talking about plot holes. So if people want to think, because this is our anything but politics show, The Rabbit Hole, with me and Rachel. If you want to join us on that, plot holes, think about your favourite or least favourite or most infuriating plot hole you can think of in a movie, and we'll be going through them together with you. So I'm going to leave it at that because the electrician is 15 minutes late. So I'm assuming he's going to come at any moment, and I've not had any breakfast yet, so I'm going to fill my boots. Bella the Witchy Faye says, okay, I'm going to put it a different way because the auto mods seem to grab it, but vindicting and harrowing that the Lynchkin Institute red flagged the UK. Yes, this is really, really, what is it called? The Lynchkin Institute, is it? Institute. This is to do with trans rights and the fact that the government, the Supreme Court, the TERFs, 55 Tufton Street, the billionaires have absolutely turned their guns on trans people and made them the scapegoats for everything. The Lemkin. Let me have a look here. This is the Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention. And if I just I think I'll add the pop-ups get annoying. Red flag, here we go. So this was published yesterday. Red flag alerts for genocide. Red flag alerts on anti-trans and intersex rights in the UK. I'm just going to put the link into the chat. You can read this after you watch the show. It's a difficult read, but a necessary one, I think. Kirsty says, yes, we have one at Sodom. Told us he was 70 years old and fought in World War II. Got abusive when I pointed out the mathematics. Khaki nappies provided by the British Army. Yeah, this side. It's 80 years since the end of the war. 80 years. So unless you're 98 years old, you didn't fight in the fucking war. You certainly didn't fight in it if you were born 10 years after the fucking war finished. Anyway, like I say, more shows to come. Join us for Geoscope this evening at 7:30. Depending on how things go with the vote in Parliament this afternoon, I'll be keeping an eye on it. I might do an emergency broadcast. I might do an emergency watch party. We can see what happens. It just depends on if I get all the other shit that I've got to do sorted. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've been moderately entertained by all this bullshit that I've come out with this beautiful July morning. Hope it's beautiful where you are. Apparently it's going to rain this afternoon, which will actually be a relief. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the wonderful chats, and thanks for just being there for each other. It's really, really important, I feel, in this day and age, that we feel like we have got a community and we have got people standing up for what they believe in and for what they think is right. And although we don't agree on absolutely everything, we agree on the important things. And I think that's what keeps this channel together. So thank you very much for that. And thanks for joining us. Give us a like on the way out. I mean, it doesn't cost anything, but it does really, really help the channel out if you give us a like. We always like a like. And until next time, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the super chats. It's really kind. And hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.